It's Wednesday, you know what that means. It is time for the latest live weekly event from Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. A little bit later than I wanted to get this one out, but with all the server updates today, I had to jiggle the day around. This week we have got Chinese New Year in the jungle, valid up until the 5th of February. Happy New Year of the Snake. This week we will jump through the jungles of Hong Kong Island for that. Another exclusive skin for the Nissan GT-R R35. I would have liked this for a different vehicle, but it is what it is. Let's take a look at the races that we have got. The first race, the Long Snake. 4-mile sprint, clearing up dawn. That looks like a new weather condition. I personally haven't seen that one before. Guys, let me know if that's been in the game for a while. 100% gravel, max year 2000, max RP 600. I like the max year 2000. A couple of cars going through my head right now. So that looks like it's going to be a very interesting race. Over to the second one, we do have the Mists of Time. 3.5 mile circuit, foggy weather conditions, 100% gravel. I don't like that cross-country, daily driver or grand tourer. I would have liked that restricted to daily driver, grand tourer. Would have made it more competitive, keeping us out the OP cross-country cars for a cross-country race. 4-wheel drive, max RP of 800. I think we could have done a little bit more with that one, getting rid of the cross-country category. It's going to be OP, it's going to be dominant for that race in particular. Then over to the third race for today, which is of course Dirty Drifts. Cloudy, 4.1 mile sprint, 99% gravel, Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat or the Nissan GT-R R35 with a max RP of 800. Now I like that we're finally in the R35 for a race, like we unlocked the skin for just recently. We've obviously got that snake skin on the R35 which looks absolutely fantastic. This week's skin, I would have maybe liked that for a different car. We've already got a skin for the R35. If that's the only bug we've got, perfectly fine, guys. Like I mentioned a little earlier, though, we obviously had the servers down for a while today. A lot of updates came out for the game, a lot of anti-cheats. Thank the Lord, we have got anti-cheat in game now. Hopefully a lot of that stuff's been reset. With the leaderboards also being reset there, hopefully we've got now a more competitive game. Something I've been crying for since day one. Thankful to see it. Hopefully it is everything we wanted it to be. After spending a few videos on Assetto Corsa Evo, we are finally back to where we belong on Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. I will do more content on Assetto Corsa in time, but Test Drive Unlimited is where it is on this channel. Let's head on over though into the first race for today. That first race of course is going to be the Long Snake. The 4-mile sprint, max year 2000, max RP 600. Now a couple of cars were instantly going through my head. I was thinking, do we just jump into the Lancia Delta Integrale? Then I remembered we've got that absolute beast, which is the Celine Alpine A110. We know this thing's frighteningly fast. Let's launch it off a line like we do. We know this launches fantastically well. First, second, up into third gear. It's very bumpy to start this race off with, so we do take our time into turn one. Get some power down, let the back end slip out as much as we can into the next right-hander. We maybe come into that one a bit aggressively. We can see we do push right across the track, but coming down round that big left-hander into the right-hander. We just want to let this race flow underneath us. Let the car move about as it wants to, but get the power down in a reasonable gear so we can make as much time as we can. Lots of lefts, lots of rights, aptly named for that race, the Long Snake. It's fantastic. We obviously done this previously in the classic Mustang. The race does change a little bit later on. I was glad of that. I was hoping the devs weren't getting lazy reusing the same race. Over the last couple of live weekly events, it does start out much the same, but it does change just about a third in or a quarter into this race, which is fantastic. We can see though the Alpine is managing the race phenomenally well. As we head down here in that Mustang race, we of course went up to the left a little bit further down the track here, but we do indeed carry on underneath the bridge just there. This is where we went left in the previous race, but we go straight on this time under the bridge round the right-hander. There is a nasty little bump coming into that one, a little crest there, guys. Take your time coming in as you head right under the bridge. Coming back uphill, we can see we do catch a little bit of air once again into that right-hander. Again, a nasty little crest there where you will catch some air and it will unsettle whichever car you decide to use for this one. Let me know which car you've chosen for this race in the comment section. I'll be really thankful. It does help feed that YouTube algorithm and it does help push the videos out and it helps the channel grow. Back to the race itself though, 40% of the way through this one, we've got a great lead on the rest of the pack, trying to straight line this little section here, save as much time as we can, which looks like we've done a fairly good job of so far. Come out of the left hand, there's a little crest. As we come uphill, another little crest there. So we want to have a nice soft suspension underneath us, regardless of which car it is we are here. Taking out our mandatory lamppost there, it wouldn't be a Ryzen 6 video without taking out a lamppost in at least one of those races. Good to get that one ticked off the bingo card. Coming uphill here though, we want to try and keep it nice and tidy. I don't think I make the best of jobs of this one. Could probably go a bit faster. Hug the corners a little bit tighter, clip some apexes a little bit cleaner. But overall, we're doing a decent job so far as we push up. We'll cross this checkpoint, committing to that one, not lifting a 34-second lead. So over the eye, we are doing a good job as it, as it kind of turns out there. The Celine Alpine, fantastic. Don't get caught up with this bit, guys. I got caught up a couple of times there. It is a big, long left-hander across that 1% of asphalt that this race does have for us there. Round the big left-hander, uphill, and we just keep climbing for this part of this section of the track right here, this section of the race. It gets a little bit tricky. You can see I did get a little bit muddled up there. Hitting that inside apex a little bit too hard, the car started to get unsettled as we come around the big right-hand hairpin here. Little tap of the handbrake, drop a gear, push up the hill once again. Then we come on to the fun part, guys. This is a very fast section right here. Be as brave as you can. Commit as much as you dare. Lift where necessary. It's pretty much the best advice I could give for that one. It's a very difficult section, but if you can commit to this one, you can carry as much speed as possible. You're going to set a very fast time on this circuit. I do lose the back end just a little bit there. Drop the back end off the circuit. We just managed to save it, but we have sacrificed there. We have lost a fair bit of time. It is going to affect our overall race time here, but we push on up over the crest again. We get a little bit unsettled there. We do drop off the track again. Unfortunately, losing a bit more time. We've probably lost 5, maybe even 10 seconds worth of race time there into the last little hairpin there. Big left-hander, get the power down, push downhill to cross the line. What kind of time did we manage to set? Where did we manage to get ourselves on the leaderboard? Well, we actually get third place, 4 minutes flat. And like I mentioned, I actually think we've lost 5, maybe even 10 seconds in the last sector of that race. We could have been at the top of the leaderboard. I need to get better at that one. I will be back to set a better time. A lot of Porsche 911 times right there, so it's going to be interesting which cars you guys choose for those races. I personally believe that the Alpine is the OP car for that one. But we'll move on. We will come back at some point and revisit that race, but we'll move on to the second race for today. And it's going to be another interesting one. It's cross country, it's daily driver, it's Grand Tourer. I would have liked it restricted to daily driver or Grand Tourer. That race, of course, is the Mists of Time, a 3.5 mile circuit race. Restricted to 4-wheel drive, which I like. Max RP of 800, but if we restricted that to daily driver or Grand Tourer, then it forces us into the Bentley Continental, the Porsche Taycan, perhaps the Audi TT-RS. I would have liked that, restrict it a lot further down. Like we can see here, we're very heavy cross-country category with a couple of EVs in there which are going to get absolutely smashed. We of course jump into the Porsche Cayenne. We did that comparison video, which still hurts me to say the Porsche Cayenne was faster than the Lamborghini Urus, so let's put our money where our mouth is here. We'll jump into the Porsche Cayenne for this race, and there's a huge difference with this one. This was busy with real players. We've got Olaf, who absolutely bombards us for the early sections of this races. We've also got Aussie and Manhunt here in the 2 Sentiero buggies, but Olaf was a little shit in this race and constantly kept ramming me off the track. This is what I don't want in live races. I do want lots of players, but I don't want them to be dirty to the point they're actually pushing me off the track. I don't enjoy that. And Olaf here, well, Olaf gets his just desserts in time. We send it up the inside of him though. We try to clip that apex a little tighter. For some reason he toots the horn to say, yeah, I'm here. Coming into this one, again, we get tighter there. Olaf going off track and making a mess of that right-hand hairpin. As we do push up the hill, we start to create a little bit of a gap to second place, third, and of course fourth. Coming into that right-hander, it looks like Olaf again tried to come into the back end of us a little bit there. Don't clip that one. And makes a mess of it, and that one there is where he went too far. It looked like he tried to dive bomb into the back end of my Porsche just there and went off track. We can see down in the minimap there, has completely spun round, lost second place, lost third place, and then disconnects. It pays not to be a dirty racer, guys. No room, no time for dirty racers in any game. Be clean, enjoy the racing, and have fun. The likes of Manhunt and Aussie82, clean racers. They've had fun in the Sentiero buggies, but we've managed to pull clean of the rest of the pack over that big jump, which I do break just before, guys. Be cautious of that one, but we've managed to pull ahead of the rest of the pack, racing cleanly and enjoying the race that we do have underneath us. We have got an 8.5 second lead over Manhunt in the Sentiero Renato. As we come into the last little section here, it does tighten up just a little bit. Left-hander, big sweeping right-hander there, a little bit of handbrake to kick the back end out in the Porsche KM, and we'd come downhill here. Round the double left-hander, get prepared for that right-hander again. We want the back end to step out, but not too much, as we got to bring it back straight away round the left-hander, and I tried to stay tight here as I did run off on this little section right here, down into the right-hand sider, and screwed up the first attempt that I had of this one. Down into the hairpin though, we do manage to get around that one nice and cleanly, pushing it downhill where there's another tricky right-hand 90 just here. Don't cut and don't overextend. Take your time coming into that one, but it's foot flat to the floor. How much again can you commit with this one? Can you keep it nice and tight? You can see just how Lady the Kane gets over this one, but we just managed to keep it between the verges and managed to set a reasonable time on the board. Although we were bombarded with Olaf ramming the back end of our Porsche, we still managed to get 4th place on that leaderboard with a 2-minute 51. GR Pacuvius, of course, back in action with a 2-minute 45. 6 seconds to make up there. I actually think that's reasonable considering how much fighting we had on the early parts of that race. So, again, I will be revisiting this at some point to put in some more competitive, some better times on the leaderboard, try and catch up there with GR Pacuvius. But now's time for the race I've been waiting for. It's time for the race in the Nissan GTR. Now, I've built this one for an off-road race. I've not used this in any off-road races so far, so it was good to actually put a tune together here. I've put a versatile gearbox in, off-road suspension, off-road tyres of course, or I think all-road suspension rather, and off-road tyres, softened it up as much as I dare, and focused on the acceleration. We're not going for top speeds in the GTR, we're going for acceleration. We want to be pulling ourselves out of these corners as best as possible. So without any further ado, we will head on over to Dirty Drifts, the 4.1 mile sprint, max RP of 800. It's the Hellcat versus the GTR, and I don't think that Hellcat has got a chance in hell of being competitive against the 4-wheel drive Nissan GTR. Once again, we start off in a good spot right at the top of the grid here, so we're not going to be fighting with anyone on the early launch in the GTR. Let's see how this one performs in some off-road races. Get right through first into second gear. We know this thing's going to launch fantastically well, and it's all about commitment with this one. How much can you commit? How much do you dare to commit in through some of these faster sections? Up into the first corner here, I like to cut this one just a little bit so we can power slide coming out, get ourselves up into third gear, keep ourselves clear of the rest of the pack. Into the next right-hander, we come in a little bit deep, unfortunately crashing into the wall, but I don't think it's going to do us all too much damage there. I do think we're still going to carry most of the momentum coming out of that little section. Cutting the left-hander there, not too wise. We can see the back end lifting off the track, but as we push uphill here, we are then going to push up towards our first hairpin of this race. Coming in nice and gently there, I actually forgot just how impressive the brakes are on the GTR, especially in that off-road race. We can actually come in there a little bit heavier, trying to cut the track a little bit, thinking we could save some time. Maybe we saved this half a second or so, maybe not worth it. Into the second hairpin, well, I took a learning from that first hairpin. We can come in a little bit hotter there as the brakes are fantastic in this thing and slows down in time for the hairpin. This next part is all about commitment. How much can you commit coming through this corner, staying off that outside barrier? I think I could commit a little bit more there as we do come downhill into a little bit of a snaking section, fitting with the title of the weekly event. Round that next hairpin, power all the way down here. Again, it's all about commitment. How much speed can we carry in through this big sweeping right hand corner? I think we actually carried in a reasonable amount. Downhill, cut the track into the next right hand hairpin there. Again, I think I could come in there a little bit quicker. We can see as we go through this track, there's half a second here, half a second there that we could improve, but overall having a ton of fun in the GTR R35 as I expected to have. Pushing forward though, these next few corners are once again all about commitment. How much speed can we carry? How tight can we get to that wall without clipping it? Like, unfortunately, I do just clip there. I think we maybe lost a little bit, but not too much. I think we got a good reasonable amount of speed coming through this latter section, obviously passing the 50% mark in this race. By passing that 50%, 60% now, we've got a 22-second lead over the rest of the AI, so we've not got a problem. We know we're setting pretty decent time just there. Maybe coming in a little bit too tight on that right hander, but overall still carrying most of the momentum, most of the speed that we want to be carrying in this section. Coming downhill, locking up just there, compromising the entry, but we've actually benefited coming out of that corner. We had a fantastic line coming out of here, and at this point, well, we've got to start to make some decisions. How hot do we want to come into this snaking section? Again, I think I carried the right amount of speed coming in through this one, round the right-hander, big power slide, and carry that all the way through the next section, down into the left-hander, into the right-hander, more snaking sections here. Absolutely fantastic gathering of races they've got for us just here. As we work downhill into the hairpin, cutting just a little bit there. I think we could cut that one a little bit more, and we're going to come back to that just shortly. As we come through the last 15%, it's all a jungle section here. It's all tight, it's very intricate, and it's very, very slow at some certain points. Left-hander up into right-hander, cutting across. We can see there's a little dip on the inside apex of that corner. Round the left-hander, round another right-hander. We can see it does slow the car all the way down there, but it seems we carried a reasonable amount of time as we power slide out that left-hander across the bridge, through the tunnel, as we head back towards the jungle here. And we've got the last little section, right-hander into the little left-hander there, carry it through in a power slide as we do push forward, cross the jump with another win. But something interesting happens in that race. When we look at the leaderboard, which we'll look at shortly, there's something interesting happens, but this race week is 150 points, so 5 efforts on every race is the way I look at it, and we do of course unlock the snake in the jungle livery for the R35. But as I mentioned, when we do look at that leaderboard, a 3 minute 39, I need to make up 10 seconds in that race to match up with GR Picovius. Where am I making up 10 seconds in that one? It seems like an obscene amount of time. I felt like we had a reasonable time, maybe lost 3 or 4 seconds here or there, overall, sorry, but 10 seconds is a big difference to that time that I did just set. And it made me start to think, let's go back out into this track and have a look where time could be found. And I think a lot of you guys are going to benefit from this one. As we join up 78% into this one, coming downhill through that snaking section, this is where you guys might want to watch this video a couple of times to improve your own lap time. Into the hairpin, cut early. Right downhill there, cut early. You're probably going to save a couple of seconds at that point, but that's not the biggest time saver on this race. Up into this right-hander, straight line. Straight across this corner, then get ready for the next one. Cut this mound. You're going to save a ton of time. I was about to swear. You're going to save a ton of time coming through there. Again, power sliding out of that corner across the bridge. Carried out the same race up until that point. So we're going to see just how much of a difference it is to cut those last few corners through the jungle section as we power slide it and hit the jump to cross the line. How much time are we truly going to save from that 3 minute 39 that we previously set? Well, a 3 minute 33. 6, maybe almost 7 seconds, and again I think we could actually improve there. So we can see where this time is being saved. Fahrenheit, Cerberus, a few of these guys, looks like, I'm not saying they are, but it looks like these are the kind of moves that are being taken to get some of these very fast times on the leaderboard. Just a little one for you guys. If you're doing that race, you might want to explore that last little part in the jungle section. It's good to return obviously back to Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown, guys. I do hope you have enjoyed this weekly event update here on the Bryson 6 channel. Please be sure to like, subscribe, tap on that subscribe button is the important one. I need to get this channel growing, guys. It is an ambition of mine that I want to try and get this one monetized and start developing the channel more and more. I hope you've enjoyed today's video, guys. Stay tuned for more updates on Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown.